Thanks for staying with us. Let's now go to a very special story of a man who was formerly a neo-Nazi in Germany but completely changed his path, moving here to Israel to convert to Judaism. And Jonathan Langer joins me here in the studio. Thank you so much for being here today, and especially on Independence Day. Very, very unique story you have. Tell us about it.
Thank you, Sarah, for having me. Yeah, I was born in East Germany. I grew up in Berlin, and I had a very normal childhood. I was going to sports, and at some point I joined a karate club and did karate professionally 4 times a week. And I was very successful. I became a champion and was competing nationally, internationally. And I was hanging out with some friends from the club who were mostly older, of my age. And it was kind of cool to hang out together. It was a very, a good feeling to belong to this group. We were very, advanced karate champions, and we would win a lot. And we were using our abilities, not only in the club but also outside. So we had, from time to time, we had fights on the street. We had competitions, and we also would be hanging out together in training camps. And that's where it started, where after training finished, sitting in a room, having a beer, listening to neo-Nazi music. Someone brought it, nobody questioned it if it was right or not. And so we started to listen to neo-Nazi music, and ever since it became a habit that we would listen to the music, and that we would also go out together when we had free time. So we attended some neo-Nazi parties, events and stuff, and we would hang out together more, and it felt great. And at some point I didn't question the values that were presented. We would celebrate Hitler's birthday. We would watch movies from the war. We would see the SS soldiers as our heroes, and we didn't question what they actually did in the war. And we got deeper and deeper. So we got in contact to neo-Nazi singers that are very famous in the scene. We hang out with people that were in prison, criminals. We had access to different other groups. We had relationships to other extremist groups, and at some point we felt we wanted to do more, and we started a German brotherhood. So we got a leather vest, a black leather vest with our name on it. We got a clubhouse where we would play the neo-Nazi music, where we could party every week on Fridays, where we could hang out and invite friends that we didn't want to be with the pop music in normal disco clubs. And this belonging and this feeling superior to people, and also valuing all that happened in the Nazi regime, made us bond together. So even when we would go to our clubhouse, we would intimidate other people just for being foreigners, you know. And
so there must have been a trigger there at some point that made you question what you were doing and change your ways. Tell me about that.
Right. So at some point I was exposed to other situations. I was going to the German army. It was mandatory. Then I started my studies. And when I started the studies, I was around foreigners, normal people as we viewed them. And from this point on, I was in a conflict, because I didn't want to be around normal people, needless to say foreigners. But the situation just brought it with itself that I was around them, and some of them I liked. So I was in a conflict, what to do now? Should I belong to the group rules, or should I be with the people? And this is what it started to question myself, being around other people, starting to question my ideology. What will happen when we throw out all the foreigners? It can't. What's the next step? And then I was searching for spirituality at some point, because my ex-girlfriend back in the time was reading different books, and I got exposed to these ideas, and there I was looking for answers to life. I had many questions.
So tell me, you could have picked from a number of religions or spiritual paths. Why Judaism?
Well, It wasn't so much Judaism. Actually, it came through a dream. I had a dream. Before the dream, actually, I was looking for Osho, Eckhart Tolle, and all this light spirituality that is around. And I liked it, but it wasn't so deep. It wasn't so like full for me. Yeah? I wanted something strong. And then I had a dream where the word Kabbalah was mentioned, and I didn't know what Kabbalah is. I woke up, went on the internet, and I found mysticism. Obviously, it was written Jewish mysticism, but I overread the word Jewish. So in the beginning, I only know that it was mysticism, and I wanted to learn more about it. Signed up for the Kabbalah Center for a lecture, and there I got a lot of answers to all my questions.
Okay, so you said to me just before, you've been here now 9 weeks, you're absolutely loving Israel. Tell me, what kind of a message do you want to spread, and what is your goal going forward?
Well, I learned from the teachings in the Kabbalah Center and for the people that people that acting from hatred, people acting from judgment or from blame, as I was doing. I was a proud neo-Nazi, and I was putting every time the finger on others, and I was putting it out of I wanted to solve the problems outside myself, didn't take responsibility. And I learned that one of the reasons we're here in this world is to become better people, that we have an alternative to acting from ego, and we can act from a very sharing point of view. And when we consider also these people that are leading their life with hatred and with pride even, and separation, if we consider them that they just need to be maybe more educated, they need to be more loved in some way also, that they can also change themselves, and then we can create also a world that is more like inclusive, more compassionate, and we see the other point of view from the person.
Certainly. So drawing on your inspirational story, tell me, we've really seen a rise in anti-Semitism across the globe over the last few years. What would your message be, and which way do you think governments can go, or people can go about fighting anti-Semitism?
Yeah, the thing that I learned from my journey, but also learned through my studies, is that the best way to fight any kind of darkness, no matter what it is by revealing more light. So instead of like fighting it with more weapons or with more darkness, like to help to educate them, bring them together with other people, expose them to different mindsets and to different views. And I think most of the people, they didn't just become neo-Nazis. They were neo-Nazis before.
They weren't born like that.
Exactly, they weren't born like that. But also it was there for the last 10, 20 years already. But now people more traveling, like more foreigners being in places where they live, they are more exposed. So their buttons get pushed. So in a way, their reactive behavior gets shown, and that's what we get to see. And so now we need to deal with it. But we can deal with it because we are way more people than they are. They are a minority. They're very loud and aggressive small group, but if we act with passion and helping them to see how we can see life, then they will also have a choice, because right now they don't see that they have a choice.
Well, if your story is anything to go by, Yonatan, it's certainly achievable for everybody. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Now, last night in Mount Herzl in Jerusalem was Israel's official ceremony marking its 71st Independence Day. The state invited 12 of the most distinguished citizens, noted for their extraordinary achievements and contributions to society, to participate in a torch-lighting ceremony. Now, one of those honoured was Kfir Damari, the co-founder of the Space Isle program, which nearly sent Israel's first spacecraft to the moon. I spoke to him a little earlier today. Let's take a listen to some of what he has to say.
We were hoping to create a moment that can unite everyone. To compare that, I can say that in a way, Yom HaAtzmaut, the Independence Day, is something similar, something that connects everyone together. And this is what we're aiming to create, and it happened. But then they went to their parents and told them that they want to build the next spacecraft. And I think for us, this is what we were aiming for. We were hoping for a soft landing, but the bigger vision was to create the educational impact, what we call the Bereshit effect. And the fact that today, and even yesterday, after the event, there were so many kids who came and asked to take photos with me, with other people of the team. And the fact that, they are engineers, we are engineers, and kids are coming and asking to take a photo with us, it's an amazing moment. And, this is what we were hoping and working for so many years.
Now, 71 years ago, Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, declared the state's independence. Now, as Israel readies to celebrate its 71 years of existence, we take a look at how it's changed in the state of Israel over the years. Let's go now to some other news from around the world. And in Venezuela, opposition leader Juan Guaido says intelligence agents detained his deputy, the first arrest of a lawmaker since Guaido tried to spark a military uprising last week to bring down President Nicolas Maduro's government. Edgar Zambrano, the vice president of the National Assembly, said on Twitter that the intelligence agency used a tow truck to drag his vehicle with him inside to one of their Caracas bases. On Tuesday, Venezuela's Constituent Assembly ruled to strip Zambrano and 6 other lawmakers of their parliamentary immunity to allow their future prosecution. And now to the east, where military officials in Seoul say that North Korea fired 2 short-range missiles in its second weapons test in less than a week. The missiles, fired from the northwestern city of Kusong, travelled 260 miles toward the east. Now, the tests come as a top US envoys in South Korea for talks on how to break the deadlock over nuclear negotiations with Pyongyang. Now to South Africa, where voting's wrapped up in parliamentary and provincial elections on Wednesday in the toughest electoral test yet for the African National Congress. The elections are the first test of national sentiment since President Cyril Ramaphosa replaced Jacob Zuma as head of state in February 2018 after 4 years as his deputy. Nelson Mandela's former Liberation Party is hoping to reverse or at least arrest a slide in support, with results possibly announced on Saturday.
The response of our people to voting is just amazing. The nation and our people are energized to cast their vote, and they can see that with their vote, they are heralding a new dawn, a new beginning, a period of renewal, and it's also a period of hope.
And that is all we have time for this edition of I24 News, but we are continuing to bring you all of the breaking stories, so do go ahead and visit us online. That's i24news.tv. I'm Sarah Coates. Thanks for watching and have a very happy Independence Day.